Okay, I am a quarterback and wide receiver instructor for the Quarterback Ranch. I'm also the speed and agility and conditioning coach. I've been working with the business for 2 years now, going on 2 years. Best decision I ever made to just kind of jump ship from what I was doing back home and just kind of pack my bags and make this decision to come do what I love. And next thing you know, I'm here in Germany, and it's just been an awesome ride. So I want to continue this as long as I can, because I truly do have a passion for it and I love it. A little bit of history on me. I went to Rio Hondo High School, real deep South Texas school. That Texas comes down to a point. I'm at the very bottom. I went to a small school. There was only 2,000 people in our town. We were a real small school. I had 178 kids in my graduating class. I played quarterback. I played a little bit of defense as well, but when you're the quarterback at a small school, they keep you to one position. They don't want you to get hurt, and it's kind of boring. I graduated in 2009 from high school. I ended up going to Texas A&M University of Kingsville, which is an hour north of that, so it wasn't that much far up Texas. That's where I met these two guys. Some of my best friends are brothers to me now. We won a conference championship in 2009. So I graduated. I didn't take the summer off. I went straight to college, ended up making the team as a true freshman. Got a little bit of playing time, not too much. I actually had more touchdown passes than this guy as a freshman. I got my degree in 2014 in exercise science. That's just a little bit more in-depth and a little bit more personalized than a high school coach. I went through the same program as those high school coaches, but as they learned teaching and how to work in a school district, I learned more of how to work on a one-on-one personal training basis. So during the time I was finishing school and a little bit after school, I was a GM at a sports enhancement performance training center. We had an indoor facility, turf, and that's where I really fell in love with speed and agility and just working with the youth. Don't get me wrong, I love working with adults and D1 or college athletes. That's awesome, but where I really have a passion for is working with a kid that's just not there yet, and then bringing him up to a level that he never thought he could achieve, and just that alone just really keeps me driven in this business. So after that, had a little fallout with that business. Went back home, working at Gold's Gym, being a personal trainer and whatnot. This guy called me up. I said, you know what, I want to do it for sure if I can work with kids. And then now it's just football as well, which is my first love of sport. I said, yep, I'm going to go. So here I am now. If you guys have Instagram, go ahead and follow my page. Okay, speed and agility. Why is it important? Number one, speed kills. You will find a position to play on the field if you're fast. They'll find a position for you. If you don't have the weight, they'll put you on the outside, be a safety or a corner, maybe a receiver, something like that. If you have a little bit more thickness too, you can be a running back, maybe a linebacker, outside linebacker. And if you're some of the best linemen that I've come encounter with, some of the best linemen you've probably seen, have the best feet. They can move their big body, okay? So speed kills. Also, combine test, you just heard it from Tim that just presented right now. He tests his people 4 times a year, and it's just kind of CYA. He covers his ass, right? So if a athlete comes up and says, hey, coach, why not playing? He has backup to say, hey, you haven't been working, you haven't been improving, and you're kind of just staying content with where you're at, and we don't need that. We need to grow as athletes. We need to get better. So the combine test that I'll be talking about today is the 40-yard dash. The 5-10-5, the pro agility, and also the 3-cone L drill. Speed and agility is important for all positions. Just because you're a lineman does not mean you can't get faster. All right? Just because you're a backer who's just really strong doesn't mean you can't get faster. Speed kills on the field. So this is for all positions. Now, when I say all positions, I also mean for all sports. Okay? Speed, you need speed in every sport. Basketball, track, obviously. Baseball, getting down the baseline, stealing bases. Soccer, we all know that, right? So speed and agility is important. These points right here are what I truly believe in. Those points alone, if you can kind of really zone in on these points, you can get faster. Doesn't matter what your background, ethnicity, your Definitely depends on your work ethic, but speed is a skill, and you can build your skills, okay? So the very first one is attention to detail. Take pride in your work, all right? Treat yourself like you're an artist, all right? In the football field or whatever sport platform you play on as your canvas, and just really take pride in your work and what you're doing. So attention to detail. These are the details that I really pay attention to. Number one, we start from the ground up, is toes up training. And what I mean by that is whenever you do an athletic movement, whether it's a jumping jack, a high knee, a skip, or even just a jump, you're jumping in the air, you want your toes up, okay? And just so I don't take another 20 minutes on this topic, when you have your toes up, you leave your lower part of your leg in a very plyometric state to when you hit the ground, you're able to snap out of that. So what I truly dislike seeing with athletes is when they try to look pretty and they do their exercises and they have their toes down because they think that looks cool and they look sharp. You have every muscle going up, but your lower bottom of your leg, which is the first thing to hit the ground, is going down. It's just not going to be efficient when you work. So whenever you're doing an exercise, you have to have those toes up. Toes up towards your knee, not down, okay? Next thing is ignition training. So your body's a vehicle. You use your body to get from point A to point B, whether it's going to make the tackle or going to score a touchdown, your body's a vehicle. So you put your keys into the ignition before the engine can turn on and you can go, okay? The skill training, speed, is broken down to a science. Okay, so if you want your engine, which is your body's legs, to go faster and rev up and take off, you have to start your body's ignition. Well, what is your body's ignition? It's your arms. Who's the fastest man in the world? Usain Bolt, we all know that. He doesn't start his race with his hands down or behind his back or not using them. He's pumping. If you were to type into Google right now, Usain Bolt, and look up an image, the first image you'll see is his arms here. He's using them, okay? He's using the whole machine to get from point A to point B, not just half the machine, okay? So if you want your engine to go, you have to start your ignition. If you saw today, there was a lot of kids that do their lunges, hands down. A-skips, hands down. They're only using half the machine. Let's use the whole machine to do one movement, okay? And I'll talk about different techniques you can do for ignition training. And the plain and simple is having these athletes really truly understand of not just having a pretty arm swing, but when to utilize it. So I do this example with all my athletes who especially have that long arm when they run or just baby little arm swings. I have them load their arm up, and always keep your arm in a letter L, all right? So they're here. Now, when I grab their arm here, I tell them to drive forward. Because this is a short lever, they have more power. It's tighter to the body. There's just more force that you can use. Mark, can you come up here for a second, please? Okay, so then this way. Mark's feet are not moving. He's at a dead standstill. If I grab his elbow and pull him forward, what did his feet do? They followed forward. They came forward naturally. Thank you, sir. That's all I needed. So the theory is, whether I'm running a 40-yard dash or running a pass or running to go make that sideline tackle, if I drive my elbows in space, if I'm driving them forward, what are my feet going to do naturally? They're going to take off faster. You just saw me gently pull his arm and his feet went forward. So if I'm driving those elbows, you're going to take off. You got your ignition started. Your engine's going to turn on and take off. The problem is, though, kids' light bulbs go off. They get that. But they don't use it properly. They don't have an efficient arm swing. What I'm getting is they have short strokes or long levers. Long levers are slower and weaker. So we got to stay in the letter L, and we got to reach back for our wallet, and then pull that wallet out. Over-exaggerate it here. If you train like this in the game, you'll get here, and that's awesome. If you train here in the game, you barely reach here. You'll be slow, okay? So things you can do, very simple arm drill. I have 3 speeds, okay? Starting the letter L, you tell them speed 1, and they focus on seeing their front hand. That's the easy one. You can see when you're doing this right. But the hard one is back here. You don't have eyes in the back of your head. You can't see that one. So you see it, and you have to feel this here. So speed one is focusing on your arm swings with a pause at the top. And when you pause, that's when you focus on, hey, I'm straight, I'm correct, I'm reaching for my wallet, I'm pulling out. I'm not crossing my body, I'm not out long here, I'm not crossing my body. I'm worrying about going straight from point A to point B. Speed two, no pause. So now, after they got speed one down, they're just working on speed two. Here's the hardest one, speed three, full blast. Turn it all up. How fast can you swing your arms without seeing their chest and body swivel and bounce and waste and break that and waste time. Oops, sorry, someone. And waste time going left and right rather than just trying to get from point A to point B. We're trying to go this way to the end zone or that way to go make the tackle. We don't have time to go left and right. That's inefficient, all right? We need to go work here. So speed one, pause. Speed two, no pause. Speed three, crank it all the way up. How fast can you go while maintaining all those mechanics? Okay. Opposite arm, opposite leg training. We see this at every camp. We even see it in Texas. We see it definitely with the youth, but you'll find some adults, older players that do it as well. All that means, opposite arm, opposite leg training. Very simple, but again, it's overlooked. We're not puppets. We don't move with the same arm, same leg when we run. You see a lot of kids do A-skips here or high knees. We're not puppets. We don't move with the same side. We move opposite, okay? So if you see a kid doing his lunges and he's same arm, same leg, help him out. Fix him and get him in an athletic state, a fast state, rather than a slow, inefficient state, okay? Last one, I'm a firm believer in this, deceleration. We all want to be fast. We all want to take off, have a 4-4. But the best muscle in your body is your brain, okay? And your brain will not let your body run a 4-4 if it can't stop from a 4-4 speed. So think of your car that you drive with no brakes. You're going to go down the expressway with no brakes? No, because you can't stop. So same thing with your body. It's not going to let you haul ass 4-4 speed and then you can't stop yourself. You're going to crash and blow up, okay? So incorporate in your drill training, don't just have them sprint through the line. Sometimes incorporate stop right on a dime, right on the line. In an athletic stance, either linebacker or in a deceleration stance here. Okay? Whether it's a shuttle or just a straight on run, have them work on that deceleration phase too. Okay. Simple pictures of some combine tests. Top guy's running a 40. Toes up, really good, knees up, arms good. That arm, a little wide, right? He needs to, instead of driving this way, he needs to stay in tight. Now, I'm sure he still ran a 4.5, right? He's probably gifted and he's worked his butt off. That little bit, though, can cause some time. Here's the 3-cone drill. This guy's got a good lean. He's making that final cut. Here's the 5-10-5 where it's just agility. How quick can you move within 10 yards? And he's also showing a good angle of change of direction. We'll talk about that in a second. Okay. First one we're going to talk about is the 40-yard dash. There's 3 phases. Can't really see it from up here, but this first phase is the drive phase. Notice how the guy's at a nice 45 degree. He's low. We all talk about that. Stay low, play low, low pad level wins. Awesome. Okay. Also, just to kind of reiterate what Tim said earlier, it's very true. How often do you get a guy that's just open running a 40-yard dash? Not very often. All right, we still got to practice it. We still got to train that top end speed. But for the most part, footballs, if you can play fast within 10 yards, you're going to be a very good football player, whether it's offense or defense. Okay? The drive phase lasts from 0 to about 10 yards. The elite athletes that run true 4.4s, Usain Bolt, they can probably keep accelerating to about 15 yards. That's excellent. Okay, but the normal average athlete, especially the youth that are undeveloped yet, if they can hold it for 10 yards, that's awesome. Okay. The second phase is the transition phase. We all know this. You don't want to just come right up and standing up tall. It's going to slow you down. You want to gradually, for about 10 to 20 yards, open up into the top speed phase. And we'll talk about that in a second, but here you're at a 10-degree lean. You're still leaning forward. You don't want to lean too far back. 10-degree lean, and then you finish through the line. So acceleration, what's the definition? Plain and simple, how fast can you reach top speed? How fast can you go from 0 to 60? How fast can you get to your fastest, basically? Okay? Now, again, 10 to 15 yards, 15 being the maximum. That's elite athletes. If you can get your 16-year-old to go 10 yards accelerating and maintaining an acceleration, meaning you're still gaining speed, that'll be awesome. Okay? It's a pushing action. Okay? And what we're pushing in the ground, we're creating forces that should go straight down into the ground, not break, not come out flat, straight through the ground. You're driving, you're pushing. You're also driving this knee forward because we're trying to get from 0 to 40 yards. We're not worried about going up, we're worried about going out. So I see a lot of guys that understand to stay low, but they're still driving their knees up. That's a waste of time. We're not accelerating that way. We need to drive forward. Our knees need to go this way, not that way. Now it's opposite for top speed, and we'll get to that in a second. You have high force production, obviously, right? When you take off the blocks, you're really pushing off, you're really driving off. But the frequency of your leg cycles are slower. When you get to top speed, it's not opposite, but this changes. Okay, so very good picture that I found. The only thing I can kind of maybe critique on this guy is he could possibly be a little bit lower and his toe needs to be a little bit far up. But depending on the picture, he might be coming down already. That's why it looks like that. Okay, but his arms, letter L, reaching for his wallet, pulling it out. He's going to have a really good drive, which is going to send his feet forward. And he can see his front arm doing good. From this angle, though, you can't tell if he's straight, but I'm assuming he is. Okay, so that's the acceleration phase. I'm going to continue with the acceleration drill. These are drills to do this off season. Number one is wall drive. You don't need all the toys in the world to get faster. You don't need all the prowler presses. You don't need all the sleds. Obviously, that's good. It's a different form to keep the athlete entertained and keep his body guessing, things like that. But all you need is a simple wall to get faster on the acceleration phase. Okay? So if you look at this guy, here's a wall. He's trying to get his body into a 45-degree lean. As he starts up tall on the wall, depending on your arm length, obviously Soren's huge, so he'd be way out here because he's got long arms. I'm shorter, so I'm going to scoot up a little bit. Okay? More advanced athletes, you can pull them back so they can get a real deep 45 lean. Now, you want your shoulder, your hip, and your ankle to be in a straight line. You don't want to be here. That's not a straight line. That's a crooked line. And you don't want to be here. That's an inverted line. You want to be straight as you can. Now, in this picture, he doesn't show triple extension. I'm sure you guys know what triple extension. That's not an extension, so he's missing one. His knee's extended, and his hip seems to be extended. So he's got 2 out of the 3 points. Okay? For your beginners, you might need to do this. For your weaker athletes, no offense to guys in here, but your linemen, it's a little bit different. Why? Because you're carrying more body weight. Sorry, but carrying more weight on a weak ankle could be a problem. Okay? So faster guys, we got to really get them into a triple extension. So again, ankle, I would start up. That's 1. Knees are extended, and then my hips fall forward. That's triple extension. Okay? Now, it's a big movement. We have one side of the body doing triple extension, and then we have the other side of your leg doing triple flexion. Ankle flexed, knee flexed, hip flexed with triple extension. Okay? All we're working here on the wall drive is exchanges. You're working on driving forward, again, not up, so I'm going to demonstrate a 1 exchange. So you're here, come up, hands out, drop. You tell them right leg up, make sure they're going forward. Again, we're not worried about top speed, we're worried about accelerating through the wall. Keep your arms straight. When I say exchange, your athlete, as fast as he can, drives his knee, and again, reaches triple extension and triple flexion, all while not getting closer to the wall and bending his arms and losing his straight line. It's a very difficult move, but again, you don't need all the crazy cool toys. Just use the wall. That alone right there will get your athletes faster on their acceleration phase. Okay?
Sorry, one question.
Question.
When your foot comes to the ground, is it with the heel or with the...
No, okay, so when he exchanges, You're going to want to play on the pads of your feet, the palm of your hand right here. So yeah, your foot does, again, he should be extended, and he's on the pad of his foot right here. Pad. But as soon as you drive up, toe up. Okay, and so the theory behind it, I'll go into it, is plyometric ability. If we don't know what plyometric is, real quick explanation. Think of a rubber band, right? You stretch a rubber band out, you let go, the forces of the elasticity contract so hard that it sends forces out, correct? Okay? When you have your toes up, these muscles here are stretched. They're ready to shoot. When you have them down, you've already shot your rubber band. You lose that little bit extra of that snap, that plyometric ability. So when the top leg needs to be toes up, but when you strike the ground, when you drive into the ground, you're playing on the pads of your feet. So that's the first thing and only thing that should hit the ground. Okay, on this drill. Again, a good exercise to do. All you need is a wall. Second of all, if you got a big, strong lineman, don't put them on a very weak wall. You're going to break the wall, and you're going to have to pay for it. Make sure you find something that's sturdy enough that can hold whoever you're training. Okay, various starts. Right. Again, we're working on acceleration. We don't need to run 100 yards every time to get faster on the acceleration phase. We just need 10 yards, 15 yards, 20 yards tops, okay? And that translates very well to the football game. So first one's a push-up start. You have them in a push-up position. When you say that's a very low position, that's actually below 45. Lighter guys, corners, receivers, things like that, they can do very well at it. Again, when you're a big, strong lineman carrying more weight, it's kind of hard to get out from this low and to stay low. First thing they want to do is break their form and then stand straight up. So, might not be something you want to start with an undeveloped guy, but with a developed, faster athlete to get him faster, push-up start, okay? Now, you can even have him start from his chest. I do this a lot with my athletes. They're straight up, stomach on the ground, and when I say go, it's how fast can you pop up. Imagine this picture down on the ground, get into this position, and then drive out. So it should take one step to get set, and then one step to get out. Weaker, undeveloped athletes take 2-3 steps just to gain yards, okay? Mountain climber start. So you have them on the push-up position. You tell mountain climbers on the first go, first whistle, on the second whistle, they should be set up and then take off. It should take one step. Kneeling start. I'll show an example. I'm going to start pushing off my left leg. You have a lot of guys. I saw it today with the DBs. We're doing one-on-ones with the receivers. They would see the guy cut, okay? So that's basically pushing off one leg, but they would never really drive off that leg. They would never really accelerate out of it. They would just kind of put their foot on the ground and then slowly take off. This could be a drill to help with that. Kneeling, right and left. So I'm gonna start with my left. I'm here. If my left leg is up, my right arm is up, okay? And when on the whistle, it's literally one step to get here. And everything should be back in its point. Then you can obviously do the right leg. And it's there. You see how some guys can really push off their left leg, great, but then you get the right leg and all the mechanics fall apart and they're just weaker or whatever the case may be. So we start with a push-up, went to a mountain climber, kneeling. Next is a falling start. This is more for your developed athletes as well, because it's kind of scary for an undeveloped or a younger kid, but falling start is basically you start with your toes on a line and you fall. If I don't drive my knee up forward, what's going to happen? I'm going to break my nose, correct? What you're trying to achieve, though, is how far can you go forward, and then your first step, can you get here? You see a lot of guys fall forward, and then they break. Look at my body. It's not straight no more. I'm bent. I got weight going that way. I need to go this way. Okay, so have them start off nice and easy. As they get more comfortable, you want them testing their bodies. You want them trying to get as low into that 45-degree angle to get out. All right? Partner resistance. Mark, need your help again? Let's start right here. Okay, how much do you weigh? 100
kilos.
100 kilos. I weigh maybe 80 kilos. Here we go. Put your feet together. A little bit wider. Okay? Trust fall, man. Fall on me. Okay? Now, notice what angle he's in is a 45. Drop your hips down a little bit. Push him towards me. There you go. Now he's in a straight line. okay? I want you to put your right arm up like it's grabbing your, there you go, perfect. And then all I gotta do is step out of the way, and he has to step. If not, what happens? Breaks his nose, okay? And what I would do, thank you, sir. Okay, so you have that partner, you're holding him by the shoulders. If it's a bigger guy, make sure you actually have a strong stance. If he's lighter, you can be okay. And you just step out of the way, and he just takes off. We're really reinforcing that nice 45-degree angle lean, okay? These are all things you can get done during your conditioning period. So not only are you just getting conditioning done, but you're focusing and you're working on acceleration. But it all boils down to attention to detail. If they're not focused on the triple extension and the triple flexion, you're kind of just going through the motion and getting your conditioning done, which is good, that's part of it. But if you're trying to grow as an athlete or as a coach trying to get your team faster, we have to be hitting these points. Don't expect it to just be magic to happen. You have to really emphasize those cues, those teaching cues. Here's a cool drill to do as well. It's called cat and a mouse. And all you do is you set up a cone, maybe 2-3 yards later you set up another cone, and it's literally the cat chases the mouse. So as soon as they hear the hut call, the whistle call, whatever it is, they chase them. All right, now you could set up I'll do it like this. Here's the cat starting point. Here's the mouse starting point. You put another cone here and another cone here. So you can have them start in a push-up stance. You can have them start in a mountain climber. You can even have them do a falling, no, not so much falling start, but kneeling if you want. They start here. When you say hit, the mouse takes off above the cone. He cuts this way, and then he goes through. Can the cat catch the mouse? Very simple. And you can even add a football throw at the end of it. If the cat catches up, well, he can pick it or knock it down. If the mouse keeps his acceleration and his good form and his mechanics, well, obviously he's going to win. He's got the head start, and he's going to score a touchdown. But it really reinforces that I need to accelerate and go rather than just go through the motions. Okay? Very simple drill to do. Very effective drill to do. Any questions on acceleration? No? Okay. Transition phase, we don't necessarily need to cover it. Just understand, you'll see it. You can either record your guys or you can just watch as a coach, and you'll see them. Take off low, stand up tall. There's no transition there. They need to take off low, and at about 10 to 15 yards, they gradually open up. And that should take another 10 to 15 yards. Slowly open up like a jet airplane. Again, really focusing on the 40-yard dash. Top speed. Basic definition is, remember, acceleration was how fast can you get to top speed. Top speed is how long can you maintain what you've accelerated. So if I've gone 20 miles an hour, I can't do that, but elite athletes can. 20 miles an hour, if I can accelerate to that, can I maintain that speed? A lot of guys get fast, slow down. Okay? So, this is in the 40-yard dash, the last 20 to 40 yards. How do you finish the race? You accelerated, but can we maintain that? Okay? This is not a pushing action. You're not driving out of the ground no more. It's more of a pulling action. And the muscle that you're using to pull is your hamstring. Okay? You're really pulling to scrape on the ground and pull through the earth and create forces to keep that, maintain that acceleration you've created. Now the force is still high, you're really driving in the ground, you're really creating a lot of force, but now the frequency of your leg cycle is a lot faster than acceleration. Okay? Drills to do this off season. First one is called fold and release. I'll demonstrate right here. I hope I don't break this, Oren, like I almost did. You have your athlete up on a wall. It's another wall drill. You don't have them lean on the wall. You just have them gently hold it just for a little bit of balance. Okay? Because it's my left hand, I'm going to use my left leg. When you say fold, what they're really working on is smashing their calf to their hamstring. So smash. How do we know we're doing a smash right? Your ankle bone should be hidden behind your knee. A lot of guys think, you just got to drive the knee up. First thing you should do biomechanically and broken down to a science is smash your calf to your hamstring. Now that's only 2 flexions, 1 and 2. Fold is smash and then finish with triple extension. So the drill alone, it goes like this. Fold, fold. Notice how I just don't do this. I come smash and then I triple extension, okay? When you run, you don't necessarily think about it, but when you train, you gotta work on this. You don't push your leg out. Look how my body went back, that's slow. I wanna maintain this. So I need a smash, triple, and then release this knee. This knee is not, I'm not flexing it no more, it's released. My toe's still up, but my knee is released. So fold, release, next is fast claw. I tell my athletes, imagine you have gum on your shoe, we've all probably felt that before, and then you scrape the gum off, you try to roll it off, you only get one scrape. So it's smash, fold, release, fast claw. How well can you get a nice scrape? Some guys hit their heel first, some guys miss, right? You want to have a nice scrape and then return to the fold and release state. So fold, release, fast claw. Notice slow motion how I fast claw, smash again, triple, release. Can't just do it in one shot. You got to really break these points down to have these guys feel it out. Okay, it doesn't happen in one session. A lot of my athletes that have seen the improvement, they've been with me several months. And I'm just drilling them, almost to the point where they get sick of it. But they don't get sick of that 40 time dropping. Any questions on top speed?
So when you make the fast claw, will you build traction on the floor with your foot?
Yeah, so you, like right now if you heard, what you're really focusing on is when you run, should be at that 10-degree angle, that's top speed. I should be right here, I shouldn't be leaning back. That was my problem in high school. I really want to get my leg stride out there, so I'm leaning back, but that's weight going this way when I need weight going that way. So got to maintain the triple extension, all the correct mechanics, but when you hit the ground, to answer your question, you want to strike the ground with the pad of your foot, slightly in front, directly underneath your hip. You don't want to be out here, look at my body, and you definitely don't want to be striking it, trying to scrape the gum off out here. You want to be right, slightly in front, underneath your body, and then get back into your fold and release.
So you're just sliding, or
Well, you're scraping. That's why it's called a claw. Imagine a claw, and you're scraping almost, if they do it on natural grass, they should leave that grass cut right there. It should just be ripped out. If you're on turf, obviously you won't rip the turf out, but all those little black beads, they should be thrown out. You'll see black beads just scraped out. If you're doing it on flat surfaces with shoes, you won't really see anything different, but you'll know, it'll almost come down to like a sound. It'll be the same sound, an efficient sound.
So if I'm getting this right, you could maybe put a resistance band on your ankle, putting you forward, and maybe making some pressure on your glute max to burn it down.
Yes, you can. What I've noticed when you try to do all that stuff, it takes away from the other mechanics. So if you're just focusing on that part, yes, you can do it. Now the next thing too is really devise a way, have the proper equipment, like a big resistance band, and then cut it off at the ankle. Because if cut it off at the ankle, meaning, I wish we had a resistance band. I know it's somewhere, it's probably downstairs or whatever, but you can't have too much play, because if you get here, that band's going to loosen up and your foot might fall out, it might lose tension, things like that. You got me? So it might.
Yeah. I especially got this very long loops, like 2 meters, and they only have resistance from 2 to 9 feet or so there, and they don't lose the stretch.
Yeah, so then those are the problems you kind of run into a little bit. So at the end of the day, if you're doing these drills properly and you're really focusing on the details, attention to detail, you don't necessarily need the resistance band because you're going to be taxing those muscles anyway. The muscles you use to run and do all these drills are smaller muscles. They're not big glute muscles. They're not big quad muscles. They're just smaller hip flexors, growing, things like that. So you can get to it, but again, use the right equipment and make sure you're still hitting the other points. You don't want to sacrifice that nice fast claw, but then you're losing the smash and the triple and all that other stuff. So just things to kind of think about. Any more questions on that, top speed? Agility, COD, change of direction. The biggest difference between agility and change of direction is agility is more so dictated on a response, a stimulation, a reaction. Today, I don't know if some of you guys were seeing, I was showing, I was doing a very complex agility, change of direction drill with one of the athletes, but I was telling him exactly what to do. That's just change of direction. You're literally telling him how to change direction. Agility is, the definition of that is change of direction, moving side to side. How fast can you accelerate side to side while stopping, turning, and all that stuff, but off of reaction. So you catch the ball, here comes a linebacker in my face, I better move, because if not, I'm going to get blown up. Okay, so part of the drill too is keep your athletes not guessing, but reacting. Okay, add a different variable that they're not ready for, and let's see if they're ready to move. That's agility. Okay, they're both good. This translates more to the game, because in the game, yeah, you can watch film, you can study all that stuff, but there's still a lot of different variables that pop up, and yeah, so we just need to have that stimulation. Okay, agility, how fast can we accelerate, decelerate, re-accelerate in any direction, all while maintaining good balance. Okay? You got guys with a weak core, right? There's no solid core. They're loose in the middle. It's very hard for them to change direction on a dime, because by the time they get here, their body's still moving and whatnot. So if you want to get better at change of direction, you better strengthen up your core. Now the core is your six-pack, obviously we all want that to be nice. Okay? Your obliques and your lower back. Don't just think what you see in the mirror, that's half of it. That's a third of it. You need to see your obliques, they need to be strong, and your lower back. Now, if you want to get more detailed, I think the core goes from your chest to the top of your knees. Okay, so all these muscles in between, front and back and side, get them strong as heck, and you'll be very agile. We have to understand this. Body position dictates body direction. If you look at all these guys changing direction, moving, they are all leaning their body position. They're all leaning to the direction they want to go. These guys are cutting on the cone going that way, so look where they're leaning. This guy's cutting on the cone coming this way, look where he's leaning. This guy's cutting on the cone for the 5-10-5 going that way, look where he's leaning. You see a lot of young athletes say, I'm going from wall to wall. They lean that way, but they got to go that way. By the time it takes them to transfer that weight and push off, seconds on the time, on the clock. You got me? So when you approach that marker, we got to be able to play outside our center of gravity. Center of gravity is right here, a little circle. I got to be able to play out here. All right? Undeveloped athletes, they do that and they start falling over or whatnot. So as I get to the wall or the cone, I need to start leaning my body position to dictate where I want to go next. Little things like that. Guys, young kids, they've never been told that. It's not their fault. They just need to be taught that. Okay? So the change of direction position is what I call a skater position. And all it is toes are even. I'm not staggered. All right, we'll talk about that in a slight second. But toes are there. All right? Be in a triangle, and then I'm going to lean. That's it. Young kids, you have them in this position, what happens? They start breaking. They stand up. They don't have the muscles to do it. Just have them do this. Strong, feet are flat, chest is up. Look like an athlete right here. Switch. Again, weaker athletes will start shaking. Their leg starts bending. The hands goes on the knee. How can we be fast, change the direction? How do you expect them to run a nice 5-10-5 if they don't even have the strength to hold that position, much less snap out of it? Okay? So again, we have to understand body position dictates body direction. What's the position? Bam. That's all it is. Any questions on that? Here's some drills to do this off season. Speed skater, I just talked about it. Start them wide. Actually, what's really good is imagine there's a yard line right here. From Soren to me, yard line. I put my hands right on that line. My body weight goes to that line. And when you say exchange, my body doesn't move. I stay down this line, but watch my hips and legs do. I'm still here. But now, which way do I want to run? That way. Run the other way. I can do it. Run this way. I can do it. Again, I'm not wasting time coming back and forth with my weight, I'm just shifting with my hips. I want to go that way. I get the interception. Touchdown's this way now. Let me go. I'm not going to do this and then run all the way down the field leaning back. I got to shift my body weight. Okay, so you have the stationary. I didn't move. I was stationary. The only thing that moved was my body, center of gravity. Okay, next is, stationary is this one. Here, back and forth. With exchange is the one I just showed you here. Exchange. You can do 3 exchanges. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3. Go. 1, 2, 3. You can go up to, it's always better to do in odd numbers just so they work both sides. And then a regular exchange. So now you can actually set them up in a 5-10-5 position, have them stop on a cone, and have them show you a good body position. So don't have them run the whole drill. Have them just run that first step, that first pause. So imagine the wall is the cone. You're here, hit, you drive, have them freeze right there. You'll see how kids are here in the middle. They're leaning, they're up tall, they're not balanced. Have them just work on that part. Have them set up, go the other way. Be the other hand, hit, boom, have them set up. And then you can go to the 10 and then you can finish the whole drill. So a 5-10-5 drill, it's a total of 15 yards or 20 yards. They start in the middle, their nose, their zipper, and their hand, that the direction they want to go needs to be down the middle. Okay? Some guys are taught to stagger. That in an NFL combine, they'll scratch you off. They'll say that's not a valid start. You have to be down the middle, parallel, everything straight, and then you can take off. So you would go 5 yards, change direction 10 yards, and then finish through with 5 yards. Starts here, finishes there. L drill, a little bit more complex. I think every kid should still do it at any sport, but you start at this cone, 5 back, same mechanics apply what you did here, 5 back, but now when they come back around, they get around this cone. Got to get around it. If you go underneath, DQ'd right there, wasted time. So down, back, around, underneath. Kids, they have a hard time just remembering this. And then to go underneath, they mess that up too. So what I like to do is build up. I tell them, hey, how fast can you get down and back? That's rep 1. Rep 2 is, how fast can you get down, back, down? Here's rep 3. Down, back, around, finish through here. Here's rep 4. Down, back, down, around, and finish. By the time they do all 4 reps, they're gassed. They're like, I'm worked out, but they got the drill down. They did it right. Each rep was not a quality rep, but they performed it right. Rather than having them just go through the whole drill, and they cut the corner, went around this way, cut it again, and then it's like, what are we doing? Right? So don't be afraid to break it down and use it as an actual build-up, right? Like a pyramid set, if you will, and have them actually learn it and do it correctly. So if they do go to a combine, or if they do go to the next level league or whatnot, they don't get DQ'd and waste their test time. They actually get a good test, a good score on paper, but it all starts with knowing the play, knowing how to get it done. So if you don't know how to do it, if that confused you, go online. I'm sure there's a million different ways to explain it, but it's all going to be the same drill. Okay, how are we on time? 5 minutes? That's it with this one, with my speed and agility. I have a dynamic and stretch. Any questions on speed and agility? Acceleration, top speed, agility.
Maybe one short. You start with the arm swings, and do you place your chest?
So I'm going to demonstrate it on the ground. I'm going to do it right here. I always have my athletes, before they worry about their legs and all that stuff, sit on the ground. So you have them sit. This is the hardest part, especially for the weaker, undeveloped athletes, sitting up tall. You have a kid do this, just sit up tall. You'll see after 2 seconds, 3 seconds, shoulders drop, and they bend. Just have them work on this. So you got to have a strong core. We know that. All right, speed 1 again. You can see this one. You got to feel this one in the back and get it back there. Maintain this. You tell them to sit up tall, they do that. You tell them to get their arms right, their chest goes down already. You have to maintain this. All right, so speed 1. Everything straight. See it and feel it. See it and feel it. Then you tell them speed 2, keep your chest up. No pause. Everything straight. I'm not crossing. Look at my chest. That's a waste of time. Speed 3. how fast can I swing my arms, getting all the points done, maintaining a high chest without, watch my chest. See, a lot of kids start doing that. They want to go super fast, but they're generating energy all over the place. They need to generate it straight.
So you don't working with the thoracic thing, thoracic
The only thing
rotation?
No, yeah, you don't want thoracic rotation. The only thing you want rotating is your shoulder. That's it. You don't want this. Because if you think about it, forces are going that way, forces are going that way. I want to go that way. That's it. 0 to 40 yards that way. You got me? Now, everyone does it to an extent. Even I do it. You got me? But if you want to improve your time, if you already run a 4.7, 4.6, it's going to be very hard to get to that 4.4. It doesn't just happen. You're going to slowly break it down. Right? So those little things about keeping your chest up tall and straight is a big deal. You got me? Now, where a lot of guys do it is at the acceleration phase. They really want to generate power, so they get wide and they start getting here and there. We need to focus on getting this way, straight, forward and back. Some guys get out wide, like you saw that picture earlier. And so when they drive through, they're driving that way. I need to go this way. Make sense? Answer your question?
Yes.
All right.
I got a question. How much time would you allocate to speed training, agility training? How would you incorporate that in your training regime?
Okay. In season, because when you do these type of workouts, and I do have workout packets here that I sold last year at the last camp. All right, so I do have that for purchase. If you guys are interested in that, you can actually pass it around for me. Look at it. That workout alone, if you're new at it, should take about an hour and a half. Because I know every drill by heart. You only do one page at a time. You don't do all 3 pages, right? Just do one page at a time. I can get it done in an hour. And I always tell my athletes, the only way to get faster is to move faster. You can't be fast and run a 4.4 if you're constantly walking and sluggish. There's no way. If you want to be fast, you got to operate fast. So a lot of those drills are not hard drills. It's just the manner, the tempo that you're hitting it at, okay? So the question is, how often do you train that? Because a lot of the muscles that you hit when you do that workout are smaller muscles, you don't want to really overuse them during the season. So during the season, I would recommend 2, maybe 3 times a week if that athlete is hydrating properly, has great nutrition habits, and obviously doing all the rehab and injury prevention, the foam rolling, the stretching, the stem release and all that stuff. Okay, but all it takes is a football game. You get hit really hard on the hip. Now that hip flexor is kind of bruised, and then you go try to do a speed workout. Well, that muscle is already kind of, under some little damage, and then you're going to go and crank out some exercises. It might cause some injury, even worse. So, off season, I recommend 3 to 5 times a week. If you want to get faster, we gotta instill these drills and instill these mechanics and get it burning into their brain almost where it becomes muscle memory. If you just do this arm mechanic one time, it's not going to sit in. You got to do it 3 to 5 times a week in the off season, and 2 to 3 depending on how developed and how well that athlete's taking care of his body during season. But if we're multi-sport athletes, you got to understand that. If you go from football right into basketball, right into baseball or soccer or something like that, you just have to really be in tune with your body. Each body's different. And depending on that, then you can figure out how many times works for you. How many times say you're doing it 5 times and you just feel tired all the time, you're always tight, your back's tight, groin's always pulled, well, that's probably too much. If you're doing it 2 times and you just feel like, man, I don't feel like I'm getting enough, well, crank it up to 3 times a week. So in season, 2 to 3 times, off season, 3 to 5 times. The next presentation that I was going to do was static versus dynamic, and I incorporate a lot of when we do our drills for quarterback ranch, our camps and all that stuff, even out there, we're implementing a lot of those things you see on that paper in our warm-up. So we're able to do a warm-up to get ready for practice, but we're also instilling the habits you need and the proper mechanics you need to get faster. So you're able to kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone during the season without overtraining your athletes. So I recommend to really redesign and really structure your warm-ups, your dynamic warm-ups to get ready for practice in a way that you're also hitting speed mechanics and speed drills and really hitting those cues, those coaching cues for your athletes to get faster while they're just warming up. So that was what this topic's about, but we got to press for time. Any other questions? You guys got my card, so if you do have questions, concerns, whatever, email me. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Again, I have more copies of that. That right there, the first page is an acceleration day. The second page is top speed day. And then the last one's agility day. So that right there is a 3-day, 3 times a week workout plan. So that could be used during the season, could be used off season. If you want to double up on some of them for off season, go for it. If you want to take one off, go for it. A lot of the exercises are still very similar and the same, but when you have an acceleration day, the focus is different. You're focusing on knee drives forward, you're focused on 45-degree lean. You have different drills. On top speed, you're focused on 10-degree lean, you're worrying about your knee coming up. You have top speed drills, and then on agility day, you have a totally different warm-up, you have a totally different focus, obviously agility, and you have different mechanical drills. So it's a very good training program to use for any athlete, not just football players, but we're obviously at a football camp, so definitely for those guys. Yeah, that's it. That's my presentation for today.